Biblically Centered Kids.
Wow, it's a great Wednesday today. My name is Miss Danika. Welcome back to the Biblically Centered Kids podcast. Today is February 28th, 2024, and there is so much happening today. To begin, today is usually the last day of February, but because it's a leap year, we get one more day of February tomorrow on the 29th. There are a few cool things that happen in history on this day. In 1940, the first basketball game was aired on TV. Do you enjoy watching basketball on TV? In 1953, Francis Crick and James Watson discovered the chemical structure of the DNA molecule. They used studies of X-ray diffraction developed by Rosalind Franklin and Maurice Wilkins. Do you know what DNA is? DNA is the genetic information inside every single cell of our body that help make us who we are. Think of DNA as instructions for how to make the body, like blueprints for a house. And under a very, very, very strong microscope, DNA looks like a twisting ladder. And honestly, it is so amazing all the information that God fit inside each one of our cells in our body. God is truly a meticulous and creative designer. All right, do you remember what virtue we're learning this week? That's right. This week we're learning all about honor. Virtue I says, we intently listen to our parents and honor their God-given authority. Today is game day, and I'm excited to have some fun with you. Today's game is called Puzzling Puzzles. We're going to practice listening intently to see if we can figure out the answers to these puzzling puzzles. All right, for our first one. I led the Israelites out of Egypt and went up Mount Sinai alone. I came back down with 10 commandments written on 2 tablets of stone. Who am I? That's right. It was Moses. Moses led the people out of Egypt, and then he talked to God and got the 10 commandments for us. All right, are you ready for another one? It was high in the sky, but also firmly on earth. It brought cooperation for many, but confusion for all. It was unmissable by the crowd, yet overlooked by the one. It was the world's first true skyscraper and also its last. What is it? Do you remember a big structure that God ended up destroying and scattering the people? The Tower of Babel. That's right. All right, here's another one. I was created so Adam wouldn't be alone. The way God made me was by using Adam's rib bone. Who am I? That's right, it was Eve. All right, here's another. In the desert I was found, hotter than the sand on the ground. A strange sight to him that was tending a flock. He couldn't believe I could talk. What am I? Was there something that God used to talk to a person we've already mentioned today? Do you remember how God talked to Moses and told him to go back to Egypt? That's right, through the burning bush. All right, here's one you should get. Instead of going to Nineveh, I decided to bail. Thrown overboard while out to sea, I was swallowed up by a whale. Who am I? Of course, it's Jonah. We just talked about him last week. Good job remembering. All right, here's one. She may have been sweet like sugar, But her fate didn't leave her sweet. Nowadays, she could add flavor. In the olden days, she would have preserved meat. Who was she? Okay, so there was a woman in the Old Testament, and in her story, she disobeyed and looked back. Do you know her name? It was Lot's wife. I know. Whew. All right. What about this one? I am the only woman whose age is mentioned in the Bible. Who am I? Have you ever thought about that? There's one woman whose age was mentioned in the Bible, and it was mentioned because she was too old to bear children.
Who says I'm old?
Her husband was Abraham. Her name was Sarah.
Hey, that's me.
All right, one more puzzling puzzle for you. A signpost and tree could both describe me, and a curse and a scandal none wanted to see. A throne, an altar, and a stumbling block. A banner, a choice, an anchor and rock. I'm in the Bible. What am I? Is there a symbol or sign that we think of when we think of Christianity or when we think of Jesus? That's right, a cross. Well, were some of those pretty hard or what? We had to listen so intently, and even then, I got tricked, and I'm sure you did too. But that's okay. Weren't those fun? I hope you really liked today's game and that maybe you learned something new about one of these people in the Bible, or maybe you could remember one to tell someone later. I had a great time with you, and I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm so glad you were able to listen intently. Until next time.